Yeah, it's a full-time job with no benefits. Too many ego, too many fits. Count money with a side of stress.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy
Still
Stu
tripping, but
Camille
you
back with
don't
another
know the
video. Today
rest.
we got Visual Venture. Dark side of van life. Okay, I wanted to be a van lifer. I wanted to have a van and go camp out and like shoot and take photography around the world, travel and do all this shit. But then, you know what I'm saying, I got a family, had kids and shit, and I was like, can't really do that with the family because that's not safe. And you know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of glad I didn't because I started hearing bad stories about van life and how it's not very fun. You can make it look fun on the internet, but it's not always that way in real life. Oh yeah, shout out to all the millionaires. Once again, that's what I call my twins and the friends that's locked in. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's get to the video.
How many people is too many living in one van?
There are 10 living, breathing children living inside a camper van alongside their 2 parents. And I think there's like a little bathroom back there, and that is separated by a single piece of blanket.
Wait, there's 3 kids sleeping here? 3 kids.
You chose the road life, didn't you?
Living in a van sounds like a dream. No rent, no routine, just freedom. But sometimes van life doesn't set people free. It puts them in a prison. Today, we'll explore the dark side of the van life trend that turned into a nightmare for many. So my goal this year is to give you guys double the amount of videos without sacrificing quality. And to do that, we gotta keep growing. So 68% of you guys aren't subscribed, and it would mean the world to me if you did. And I promise to give you more fire content. I'm Visual Venture. You are awesome. A tough adventure. The van life trend started with this guy living in a van. He drove around taking pictures of beaches, campfires, and sunsets. On Instagram, he said he was starting a photo project called #vanlife. It looked awesome, so thousands followed his lead. They quit their jobs, moved into vans, and hit the road. But for a lot of people, it didn't lead to peace or freedom. It led to misery. One of the most famous van life families was called the Family of Nomads. It was a mom, dad, and their 3 kids living in an RV.
We're family nomads and we are family 5 and we're traveling the United States in our camper.
At first,
So this nigga just stole my idea. Okay.
people loved them. They got comments like, "I am so inspired by you guys. You live every day to the fullest. Thanks for letting us share your adventures." Then the viewers noticed something. One of the kids didn't smile much. Her name was Addison. She always seemed quiet, uncomfortable. Viewers thought she was just shy. Then something happened that made people worried. The whole family appeared on a TV interview.
Joining us now, Jessica and Dub McCorkle and their kids Addison, Grace, and TJ. Good morning.
What if your next social ad was on TV? You already run social ads, but what about running ads on TV? Doesn't have to be some...
Good morning.
Good morning!
The parents smiled, the little kids waved, but Addison just sat there, looking distant. One comment said Addison was the only one who didn't say hi. You can see how separate and sad she looks. Eventually, people started connecting the dots. Addison was 14, a teenager, but she lived in a van that was always moving. That meant no real friends, no real home, no personal space. Viewers started speaking up for Addison. One wrote, "That poor girl is growing into a new chapter and has no room to grow." After more viewers complained, the parents added curtains. It was supposed to give Addison a little privacy, but the curtains couldn't fix the real problem. On Addison's 15th birthday, she made a special
Your kid needs some friends in her life and you gonna give her some curtains. These motherfuckers, yeah.
request. She wanted some time out of the van.
For Addison's 15th birthday, the only thing they wanted was to go to a hotel.
At the hotel, Addison said it was nice to have a door. It sounded like a joke, but the message was clear. She was tired of the van life. Then something happened that felt like a cry for help. A post appeared on Reddit. The title was, "I'm a teen in a full-time RV living vlogging family and I can't stand it." The teen said she was 15 to 17, the oldest kid in the family. She had no privacy or social life. She was also deeply unhappy but couldn't tell her family. At the end of the post, she begged people to stop watching van life family channels. Based on what she wrote, many assumed it was Addison. Then, months after the Reddit post, the family made a big announcement.
Addison has struggled.
See what she just said? Stop watching van life videos. Sometimes when y'all be hearing people that say shit and it sound like they hating, y'all be like, they hating. I love van life videos. I'm watching this shit tonight with my friends. Sometimes it's people that's trying to help themselves and help y'all and help everybody else. Sometimes it's a cry for help before the cries start pouring from the eyes. You know what I mean? I'm saying too much. CIA gonna come get me, man.
With their mental health for many years. Addison is currently back in treatment and won't be in our content during this time.
Some fans took that as confirmation. Addison was miserable, and maybe she finally snapped. A few months later, the family of nomads quit van life. They sold their RV and moved into a real house. The parents were sad, but the kids looked happier than ever. Because here's the truth, Addison didn't choose the van life. She was just dragged along for the ride. In this next story,
The van life chose her. I'm sorry, bad joke.
life didn't break a teen, it broke a full-grown adult. The uncertainty of van life. Van life can potentially be damaging to your health. One study found that living in small, crowded spaces elevates blood pressure, heart rate, and irritability. That's exactly what happened to Chris Wright. In 2017, Chris and his fiancée started van life. They wanted to explore the country in an authentic way. But even before they hit the road, things got weird. Chris started having nightmares. Every dream ended the same way. The brakes failed and the van crashed. The nightmares continued for months. By the time they hit the road, Chris was terrified. Each time he drove, the same thoughts played in his head. What if the engine fails? What if I crash? What if we get stranded and no one comes? That's something most van lifers don't talk about. The endless what ifs. Because living in a van means nothing is guaranteed. That uncertainty creates anxiety, and for Chris, it wore him down. Chris became irritable. He and his fiancée were always fighting. What was meant to be a romantic trip nearly ruined their relationship. Then, the van broke down. They had to move back in with their parents, and they gave up on van life for good. But van life doesn't just mess with your head. For some people, it destroys their money too. Meet Natasha Scott. She discovered van life through TikTok, and she decided to try living in a van because TikToks made it seem so easy. In 2021, she bought a van and hit the road. Her plan was simple.
Stop judging shit off of TikTok, bro. If I hear one more motherfucker say, I saw some shit on TikTok and thought I could do it too, and now my life is ruined, I'm not gonna keep like caring. It's like right now I still care because the information ain't there. But now I'm part of the information team. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. I'm trying to help us. So if I keep hearing motherfuckers say shit like I saw the shit on TikTok and I did it and now my life is ruined, at some point it gets to a point. You know what I mean? We're gonna stop giving a damn. You know what I'm saying?
Get a remote job, travel the country, post it all online. But that plan fell apart fast. First, she couldn't find work. She downloaded about 18 apps to apply for remote jobs. Nothing worked. Then her savings ran out. She had no money for food or gas. She started selling her clothes just to survive. And that's when it hit her. She wasn't on a road trip anymore. She was homeless. In 2022, Natasha quit van life and moved into a cheap hotel. She slowly rebuilt her life. Then she went online to warn others. Chris and Natasha both chased the van life dream, but their stories made one thing clear. Van life is a gamble, and if you lose, you could lose everything. The next van life problem involves cameras. Using kids for content. In van life, the kids aren't just living on the road. They're growing up on camera, because posting online isn't just part of the lifestyle, it is the lifestyle. The Bethunes are a great example. Their YouTube banner says it all.
I was about to say why they online, but then I thought about ain't no way to really make money if you always on the go. So you kind of have to be like a YouTuber or like why couldn't one of the family members just be a full-time YouTuber or something? Because then you can have your family off doing whatever you're doing. They can have, you know what I'm saying? There's a way this van life shit could work. You could be in the van by yourself shooting your YouTube, talking about the motherfucking shit you talk about on a day-to-day basis because you're a full-time YouTuber. You've built up the clout and whatever you need to, you know what I'm saying, sustain your lifestyle by yourself. So then you can take your family on trips and all in the van life. Y'all can be in hotel rooms when you get to the new place that you're at, you know what I'm saying, type shit. And they can have a really good life. And they be off camera, nobody even really knows they exist, so they ain't worried about doxing them, and they don't have to feel like they're growing up on camera and not really having fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? That's brainhead big shit, man. If y'all need help, come to us. We got you, man. But I ain't gonna say too much.
adults, 3 kids, 4 dogs living in a bus. They post vlogs twice a week and live stream twice a month. They are a loving family, but not everyone liked what they were posting. On Reddit, viewers started calling them out. Someone said the kids do a lot of chores while the mom just films TikToks. Another comment accused the mom of posting videos about her and her husband fighting. But the clip with the biggest backlash was the punishment video. In one vlog, they filmed their daughter washing dishes as punishment.
Last night, Molly chose not to do her chores. And if our kids don't do their chores, they have consequences.
That might sound like normal parenting, but there's another element to this. Imagine that you're a kid, you mess up at home, and the next morning, your punishment is online for everyone to watch. That's no longer discipline, it's humiliation. Viewers complained, but the parents defended themselves.
If you believe that children shouldn't have consequences and shouldn't have responsibilities,
That's not what the fuck we saying, nigga. I ain't gonna let you even finish this statement before I come for your ass, nigga. That's not what the fuck we saying. We're not saying they shouldn't have the responsibilities and they shouldn't have the fucking, you know what I'm saying, discipline. We saying you shouldn't be posting this shit on the motherfucking internet. Do people not understand two things can be true? I be saying this too much. I've been saying it almost every day this month. Like, people do not really understand two things can be true. Yes, children can have responsibilities and discipline, and they're all the motherfucking above. And also, you cannot post the shit on goddamn line. You cannot humiliate them for the whole world to see for the rest of their life. Because when they get on the internet, it ain't never going nowhere else. It's going to be on the internet for the rest of their lives. So they're going to grow up seeing their humiliation rituals online. Because that's what the fuck this is. This is a fast zip line to fame. And you doing all the humiliation rituals. Never mind, I ain't gonna say too much. I'm part of the game.
Really freaking doomed as a society.
And I agree, but the thing is, people weren't mad about the punishment. They were mad that it was turned into content. The Bethunes uploaded hundreds of videos, but in March 2025, they suddenly quit YouTube.
This will be the last video we're uploading to this channel.
And maybe, just maybe, that's a good thing, because now their kids can spend more time off camera. We've seen how van life can destroy privacy, but what happens when it becomes physically dangerous? Sick, alone, and trapped in a van.
You want more energy? Take caffeine. You want better memory and focus? Take lion's mane. You want to reduce stress? Take L-theanine. You want to strengthen your immune system and your gut health? Take chaga. You want
a van. In January 2020, a van lifer got sick. He was living alone in his van when it hit him. It started like a regular cold, but soon he was coughing up fluid. He also felt dizzy, but instead of getting help, he tried to tough it out in his van. That was a big mistake. He got weaker, he started drifting in and out of consciousness. Finally, he forced himself to drive to a hospital. Doctors ran some tests. They said his oxygen levels were incredibly low. Doctors said that because he didn't get help in time, it permanently damaged his lungs. Now he lives with chronic pain and fatigue. In 2023, he shared a story to warn others. When you live in a van, you're alone. And if something goes wrong, you're on your own. But falling ill isn't the only danger. Sometimes the real threat is other people on the road. In March 2025, a van lifer named Casey posted a video. It was called "A Stranger Knocked on My Van," an unsettling morning of solo van life. And her story was terrifying. It started early one morning, around 7 a.m. She woke up in her van. She was parked in a remote area. Then she noticed a black car slowly driving past. She didn't think much of it, but 5 minutes later, she saw the car again.
The same car came back down the road and pulled off into the same lot as us and actually drove behind the van.
From her window, Casey could see 2 men sitting in the car. They pulled up right beside her van and honked. Casey was frozen in fear. One of them got out and knocked on her window. She grabbed something to defend herself, but she stayed silent. After a long moment, the man got back into the car and left. Casey knew she had to move, but she didn't know the area. She had no friends nearby. She pulled out her phone to look for a safe spot, and then they came back.
30 to 45 minutes later, the same car comes back down the road and pulls off on a street just up the road.
They were still watching her van, still waiting. Casey didn't wait around to find out what they wanted. She started her van and sped to the nearest restaurant. She never saw the men again. Casey learned a lesson that day. Van life can leave you vulnerable, and if something happens, there's no neighbors to hear you scream. This next chapter is about how van life impacts the future of the kids growing up in it. Uneducated kids. There's an education crisis in van life, and no channel shows that better than Wild Family Life. The channel is run by a van lifer named Nadine. She lives in a van with her 3 kids, ex-husband, and boyfriend. You heard that right. The family dynamic is unusual, and the way she met her boyfriend is equally strange.
When you randomly meet a homeless on the streets in Portugal, 3 months later, he moves into your camper.
But the most concerning part of her story isn't the...
What was the word they bleeped out? Because I would have said homeless nigga. But can she say homeless nigga? I don't know, man. Y'all gotta tell me what the word was.
boyfriend. It's her kids' education. Nadine claims she homeschools her kids, but what she describes doesn't sound like homeschooling at all. She calls it unschooling or world schooling, sometimes even travel schooling. She tried to explain it in one of her videos.
Like, we have this app my kids learning with. They set their times each day. They do that by themselves. There's nothing I have to do.
There's no schedule.
Nah, first of all, if you are trusting your kids to set the app to teach themselves, they're not doing that. I have 2 daughters. They are very responsible. They clean a lot of stuff. They do a lot of things, but a lot of times they do not. And especially if we ask them to do it. If she's not going behind him routinely checking, which it seems like she's not. I can't assume, but I'm just going based on what she's saying. One would try to, you know what I'm saying? We could argue that they not learning shit at all because they not going to be teaching themselves all the time. Kids would rather not do that. A lot of kids would just rather have fun and go play and do all kind of bullshit all day. I have 2. I know. And I was one. And I'm still one at heart.
No curriculum, no supervision. The kids just open an app and teach themselves. Viewers were worried. They said kids need structure and someone to check their progress. To them, Nadine was jeopardizing her kids' education, but she didn't want to hear it.
People think, oh, poor children. But trust me, my children, they wake up with a smile in their face. They go to bed with a smile in their face.
But if Nadine wasn't spending time on her kids' education, what was she doing? She was making content.
Yeah, how do we get money for food, gasoline, and everything else we need for a living? We work online. We work with Instagram. We work with YouTube.
YouTube and Instagram pays the bills. And just like we saw earlier, some van lifers don't just make content. They build their entire life around.
How are niggas getting paid on Instagram, bruh? I was getting paid for like posting some shit on Instagram at first. And then they just took me out of the shit. Like, then they stopped paying me at all. And like, now I don't even really get no views on that bitch. And then these niggas talking about Instagram pays the bills. How? Can I get that to happen for me? Can I get Instagram? Well, we ain't worried about Instagram no more. Fuck Instagram. They try to hold me and then try to, you know what I'm saying, on Juneteenth at that. I don't think I'll ever go back to that. You know what I'm saying? I still post for my fans that's on there. But I'm not going to be trying to get, you know what I'm saying, build up no, you know what I'm saying, real good shit on there. Like, share, and subscribe here. Become a Khalil today.
Even at the cost of their kids' education. Up next is a tragic van life story because it ended with someone in a casket. The van life trip that ended in tragedy. In July 2021, Gabby Petito went on a road trip with her fiance, Brian Laundrie. They planned to travel the country, live in a van, and post it online. They even set up a YouTube channel for their content. The early videos looked perfect. Gabby and Brian looked happy.
We are right outside Capitol Reef right now in a free dispersed camp spot.
But behind the smiles, tension was building. Later videos showed Brian looking distant or annoyed.
We have this nice big open floor for you to keep your dirty feet.
Eventually, they got into a big fight outside a grocery store. Someone saw it and called the police. When the cops arrived, Gabby was crying. They both tried to downplay it. Brian said it was just a misunderstanding that escalated.
You want to tell me about those scratches on your face? She had a cell phone in her hand, that's why I was pushing her away.
No one was arrested, but police ordered them to spend the night apart. So Gabby slept in the van and Brian checked into a motel. The next morning, they continued the road trip, but there was tension.
Did she choose that? 'Cause if it was me and I had a situation with my significant other and we both live in a van and one of us has to go away for the night, I'm going to stay in the van. You go and get a chance to go have a great night in a hotel, get yourself pampered up or whatever. Here's some money for the spa or whatever, like type shit. And that's if we had a bad time. I'm still, you still part of me because we was together, right? Go take care of yourself. I don't know what's up with these new niggas.
Between them, and their biggest fight was yet to come. Gabby used to text and FaceTime her mom every day, but suddenly the messages slowed down. Then they stopped completely. Her mother knew something was wrong.
And everybody was like, she's fine, she's fine. They're out in the mountains, they have no signal. And I said, no, it's not like her.
Around that time, Gabby also stopped posting on Instagram. That was really unusual. Then came the moment that changed everything. On September 1st, Brian returned home with the van, but he was alone. When Gabby's family asked where she was, Brian said nothing. So Gabby's family reported her missing. But before the cops could question Brian, he went on the run. Everyone was asking the same question. What happened in that van? The news of Gabby's disappearance went viral. The police appealed to the public for help. The search began. And on September 19th, they found Gabby, but it was too late. Gabby was gone.
Right now, someone you call a friend is crafting an excuse to bail on your plans. Well, not
Gabby was gone. According to the autopsy, someone took her life. Her family and friends were devastated. Even van lifers who never met her mourned her loss. But the story wasn't over. Brian was still missing, and most people believed he was the one responsible. The search dragged on for weeks. Then in October, police found Brian. It was too late for him too. His remains were found in an isolated area. Next to his remains was a notebook. Inside, he confessed to ending Gabby. Gabby's case is the most disturbing example of van life gone wrong. Sometimes the real danger isn't the road. It's the person sitting next to you in the van. This video isn't meant to say that life on the road is all bad. Of course it's not, but it's here to show you the full picture. Because remember, on social media, everything looks perfect. Everyone looks happy, but the reality is far from it. So my friends, be grateful for your life as it is and stop comparing yourselves to others online. Visual Venture.
Shout out to this nigga, man. Shout out to Visual Venture for making content once again. If you want to watch the rest of his outro, you can go ahead and check the link in the description. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Once again, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I call my friends and the twins that's locked in the Kalillionaires. And if you made it to this end of the video, then that's what I call you. You are now officially locked in, twin. Let's get this, man. We're over to 1K. We're here every day. A lot of videos, a lot of stuff to say. I love y'all. Peace.